Welcome back to Accident Reflections. This time we're going to have a look at a brownout helicopter. In this case, a Bell 230. As you can see, it's article number 9 or presentation number 9, and there is an article for that. So, if you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So, let's dive right into this one. Bell 230, brownout, non-fatal accident. Yeah, that was the actual aircraft to be. Beautiful machine, well maintained, pristine condition, and so on and so forth. But as you can see, not much, well, in fact, nothing left at the end of the day. But let's have a look at the relevant history of this specific accident. It was a charter flight to an electric substation. All right. So the owner of the helicopter works with this kind of stuff. He had his passengers who he had to take to this area, and then they would discuss the substation. And he had a very well qualified pilot on board as well, who flew the machine. And they're going to land as close as possible from a natural point of view to the accident site. And that is when things started to go pear-shaped. All right, so the pilot plus the owner of the aircraft discussed use better surface, which is available. They actually did discuss that. The problem with the area where it was much more suitable to land is that it was, you know, quite a distance away, which means that the logistics to get everybody from the ground to the substation would have meant extra vehicles and. I'm mentioning this so that you can understand that there is a good, well, let's say there is a rationale in our mind why we certainly don't want to do things, and then we've got to weigh up two things. Are we going to sit with that logistic problem, or are we going to sit with a brownout condition? Well, I'm sure that they knew they were going to eat the brownout. Okay, never mind. Decided through to land, to land closer, aimed to land inside the soccer field. Now, I'll show you the soccer field just now, but you must remember these soccer fields, they have got no grass on, they have got nothing on. This soccer field is a sand bowl, a dust pit. Don't know how to say it. To think that you're going to land inside of that with a helicopter and not go into brownout conditions is not thinking. Okay, never mind. All right. This field had no binding agent, in other words, no grass or nothing. They say the field was wetted before. How wet must you make a field for this kind of weighted aircraft? If there was so much water, I mean, it would blow it away in split seconds. Or a split second. Okay, the thin layer, if it was watered, I don't think that information is so true. Okay, full brownout conditions followed. The pilot decided to land but drifted into the power line, and he cut off a pole, and this is where they landed. We'll see the pole and everything just now. Aircraft crashed and all escaped, and then the fires destroyed the helicopter. Right, there's the pole cut off. Now, the sequence, they had to make a decision where to land. Okay, so where are you going to land? They land, then we've got this problem. If they land, they've got this problem. Okay, so which one? Okay, they decided then, and I think that's got a lot to do with the passengers and closer to the substation. So landing on the soccer field won this battle, but it wasn't the right decision. Because now if you go into a condition like that, and you must know that most of the helicopters in the deserts and all those areas that the Americans have lost is due to brownout conditions. Hello? Brownout conditions. where you put into the dust. Have you been in a dust bowl? I've been in a dust bowl many times. But remember, I was trained how to handle a dust bowl, and which techniques to use on the approach, and which techniques to use on the landing, and specifically when to go around. All right, never mind. Here we go. Approach from about 200 feet, 50 knots, which is good. Hover height 5 to 10 feet, not good. You cannot hover in dust. What do you mean by that? If you're going into a dust bowl, you can't stop and hover. You've got to have one constant path, and you've got to land from there. Now, that's another technique. Now, all right, which is not why we are doing this. Here we're looking at the decision making. The pilot decided to land and not go around. Now, remember, I've said it in the previous time, you cannot fly by the seat of your pants. So whether you're in a dust bowl or whether you are in a cloud, seat of pants doesn't work anymore. It cannot work anymore. You're not designed. So if you can do stuff like that, you are superhuman, and then I'm scared. All right. So they hit the pole. Now here you can see where I'm talking about the dust bowl. The area that they could have landed was quite a bit this way, and that would have mean, you know, quite a bit of logistics. And here you can see the substation at the bottom, and here you can see the soccer field. Now, as you see the soccer field there, that is all that gets green sometimes of the year will be these little areas here will get green. But this soccer field never becomes green. That's where the children play to their heart's content. And it's dust. And if you haven't played soccer on a field like that, go and try it. It is actually fun. But not if you're a chopper pilot. All right. So, let's have a look. The approach was planned into a dust bowl. If it was an operational requirement with life and death situation, I would have done it. If it was for this situation, I would not. The approach was partly a constant path approach, but direct landings did not result. Now, I'm talking here about constant path approach, and I'm sure that a lot of the helicopter guys on the other side do not know what I'm talking about. So that's another thing that you must go and watch is what is the constant path approach. And that's the kind of approach that we use in the mountains with NVGs into dust bowls, you know, that kind of stuff. All right, never mind. Let's carry on. The pilot, he was totally impaired visually, all right? But he decided not to land and to try and get his position, but not to go around either. Okay, there was a decision of proximity to the power station, no alternate transport arrangements, I believe. Decision to land in the spot cannot be justified by anyone who's been trained for such conditions. Planning for an escape route is not done, it's not implemented. Suspicion who called the shots and who were flying. Oh, here I'm on thin ice. Remember, I'm not after the specific people here. I'm after the principle of things. And if we get the principles right, we can work from there. But if we don't get the principles right, well, we open up our ribcage for another accident. All right. So, brownout, whiteout. Whiteout, yes, I've experienced whiteouts in Antarctica, down in the South Pole regions. It's the same blinding experience. Conditions landings are specialist environments requiring much training in technique. Okay, and believe me, before we went down to Antarctica, well, we were flying at that stage Puma helicopters, and we had Doppler hover and stuff like that, and we actually learned how to land the helicopter with zero visibility by using Doppler. Many hours, all right? It's not a straightforward thing. And that helped. Brownout or whiteout. Okay, dust and helicopters, well, they do not mix well. First of all, but except for the fact that you're going brown out, the next thing is you've got turbine engines, you haven't got particle separators on the intakes of the engine. Those dust particles are going directly into the engine and it is destroying the engine. All right? And if you don't know what a dust particle separator is, then you shouldn't go into dust anyway. All right. If you haven't got one, you shouldn't go in. Okay? You've got to have good separators. Then also there's serious corrosion on the blades. Main rotor blades are specifically. Toe rotor blades will take a punishment. Main rotor blades will take a serious punishment. Okay, so there's nothing good about this. Okay. Poor decision making, probably driven by, that's the human factors behind it. And tongue in cheek again, you know, the owner probably had a lot to say about that. And then there's no plan B. So let's see what are the recommendations. First of all, look at the dust out condition that I'm showing here. Now, yes, it's not the same aircraft, but it's the same results. I can just say to you that in that dust bowl, it would have engulfed them like this. Well, I think the helicopter would probably have just disappeared at one stage. There's no such thing as seat of the pants flying when you are visually impaired. And I'm saying this every time now. So, whether you're in a cloud, whether you are in a dust bowl, or whether you're in a snow bowl, it doesn't matter. Okay? The moment that your eyes cannot have reference with any horizon, your balances will topple. Okay? The helicopter, these helicopters are not equipped to land in that situation. It's not at all. The helicopter is not equipped to do that. Okay, so to bet one's life because of comfort, well, it sounds a little bit not cool. Not to listen to wise counseling has serious consequences. Never venture where you have not had training. Proper training. I'm not talking about you know, what I can't get is that people get away with stuff that they haven't been trained for, and now they think that they are the gurus. And they know. You're still a fool. Yes. We don't discover flying by accident. Okay? We get trained, and we get trained properly. Or we stay away. Okay, never mind. I say here, you cannot wing this one ever. To discover flying is not a good technique. It's normally too late. You are lucky to walk away from this one. So, it doesn't matter whether we fly helicopters or fixed wing or whatever we fly. When you cannot see, then there's trouble. The pilot didn't fly into the power pylon or pole because he wanted to. He didn't see it. He couldn't see it. If he could see, he wouldn't have flown into it. It's easy as that. If you enter into a cloud, if there's a piece of granite inside the cloud, if you can't see it and you don't know it's there, you can take your chance. There's a 50-50 chance, by the way, that there's no granite or there is granite. Really? Is that how much your life is worth? Until the next session.